Yo, wonderful night, blessed night, blessed night. What's good, everybody? Whew. It's Friday, and I got the weekend off. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on. Work on my sequel to The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease. Get that popping. So the sequel to The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease is going to be titled The Seeds of Dark Matter Decay. All right. I pretty much have I'm thinking about doing a trilogy for this particular leg of the story, but it might turn into a saga. I don't know. It might turn into more than 3 books. You know, there's so much content that I have to add to it. So I'm gonna get right on started. I know it's gonna be in here right now. It's real late, so
The
I can
route
understand.
guidance will start now.
So basically,
In half of a mile, right turn.
The
onto
Seeds of Dark
Piccadilly
Matter
Street.
is about a man who used to be a U.S. Army Ranger. All right, he's a brother. He's a black man. Used to be a U.S. Army Ranger, and he's been retired for about 10 years, and basically he's working in Florida while his family is living in California. That's where his roots are, but he's working in Miami
Next right,
because
and then left turn.
he's getting things set up.
onto
Okay,
I-110
that's pretty
north.
much all I'm gonna say about that right now. He has to sacrifice being with his family every few months so that he can get things set up, because this guy is a prepper. Okay, essentially he's a survivalist. His time in the military and the things that he saw
Next left onto
during his
I-110
stint,
north.
and the thing that there's one incident or one event that caused him to open his eyes to the greater picture in terms of the government and what he was doing and who he signed his life over to. All right, so this caused him to be in that preparedness mind state. All right, so he basically works for a cruise line in Florida. All right, and
Proceed
on his way back,
I-110 north.
there is a nationwide disaster that occurs. Actually, it started in Houston. Okay, he's working in Florida. He's hearing about this event going on in Houston, right? This plague, this outbreak that happens, and he's like, he can see the writing on the wall. He can see what's going on. He's like, oh shit. So, but he's still out in the ocean on his cruise ship. Okay, when this starts. And so as soon as he gets back to Florida, he knows it's time to rock. It's time to get out of here. It's time to roll. And so he gets all this shit together.
Continue on
Okay.
I-110
He gets his truck and
north.
his trailer together and prepares to get on the road to get back to his family in California. Okay. So that's basically what this story is about. It's a story about a man, a survivalist, a former U.S. Army Ranger who has to cross a country, an entire country, to get to his family, and all the flights around it. All right, he can't catch a flight, so he has to drive cross country to get to his family. And the further he gets on his journey, the more of these outbreaks spring up all over the country. Okay, so just to make it out of Florida, he goes through a lot of stuff. Okay, and he runs into this young lady that he ends up saving inadvertently after an attempted carjacking, that happened to him. He dealt with that, and then he ran into this young lady
Continue on
who ends up
I-110
joining him on his journey. And so, yeah, I mean, basically this outbreak is kind of like a zombie virus, right? Because except they're not really zombies. They're crazed cannibals, right? This disease turns them into crazed cannibals, but they're not zombies, all right? But they are dying with this disease, and if they don't get live flesh, right? If they don't consume live flesh, the disease eats them away from the inside out. Okay, so unlike your typical zombie, they don't last 2,000 or 3,000 years as a dried up corpse walking around, right? If this disease doesn't get live flesh to consume that the host eats, boom, okay, they devour the host dies. And that's basically what this is about. And really, you know, they say the CDC tells you to prepare for a disaster as if you could possibly encounter a zombie outbreak. So anything you would do to prepare for a zombie outbreak would prepare you for any disaster. Is basically what they're saying, right? But, you know, on his way there, like I said, he encounters a lot of things just in Florida. And he gets to this one part in his journey that kind of changes him, right? So every character has an arc, or every main character should have an arc, right? And he has an arc in this particular book, but yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. It's a really good story, and while he's trying to get out of Florida, his wife is in California, and she has to get the family, the kids and other members of the family, extended family members, to their property in Lake Tahoe, California, right? Where Wakan, the main character, the soldier, the ranger, set up a compound that is equipped and defensible for any disaster such as this. So it's defensible. There's a lot of food stores there. It's self-sustainable. It's basically just a compound where they can isolate themselves while shit goes haywire. All right.
Continue on
And so,
I-110
just
north.
in getting the kids to that compound, they run into a lot of stuff. All right. At first, there's no signs of the outbreak in California, but as they go along, as they head north from LA, they're in LA. As they head north from LA toward Lake Tahoe, they do encounter some stuff. All right, so they encounter some trouble while Wakan encounters trouble. And it's like all of a sudden, all these outbreaks are occurring all over the country out of nowhere. It's like sudden, okay? It's not something that was gradual. I mean, this thing is spreading like wildfire, and you know, it's a very interesting
Continue on
type of deal,
I-110
you know.
north.
So it's like whole towns are becoming infected, like just like that, right? So there's that. There are a lot of different elements to the story, right? There's a lot of great character development. You know, that's what I like. I like character-driven stories, and that's what this is. This is a character-driven story. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of action within that. So as the action is happening, you are learning more and more about these characters as they go through these actions. It's not just, you know, oh, he went through some shit, oh, they shot some shit up, blah, blah, blah. As these things are going on, as the main character is fighting an enemy, as his wife is fighting an enemy, as her brother is fighting an enemy, because her brother he's going to have a lot of perspective in this book. You're learning more about these characters as the action is happening. So it's not just it's character driven. It's character driven story. It's a story driven story, right? It's because I'm all about things lining up. Whenever I read a book or watch a show or something like that, the story has to make sense. It has to line up well. It can't be all super fantastical. It has to be grounded to a degree, right? And that's what is going on in this book. It's very grounded. It's real, you know. Even though it's science fiction, you know, it's real events are happening. It's like anything can happen to anyone at any point. In my universe that I'm creating a universe, and I'm trying to make it like the first Black Star Wars type shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and in my earlier broadcast today, I mentioned that I don't believe in entertainment, because when you look up the term entertainment, it is something that is being done purely for someone's enjoyment. Okay? Now, this may be, we're getting into semantics here a little bit, because you can learn, right, and enjoy while you're learning. But I like to keep it, the reason I say I don't like entertainment, or I don't believe in it, is because it's not just for your enjoyment, right? It's for you to learn something. And that's, you're gonna learn something. Even though, like I said, it's science fiction, even though these things aren't happening, these aren't real events, what's happening in this will open your eyes. I guarantee you that. Okay? There's some real shit going on in here. You know, there's a lot of prepping, you know, things you can learn about prepping and what you should have on hand in the case a disaster arises. There's a lot of elements of that. All right? And you're also learning about society, how society may behave in the event of a nationwide disaster where everything is breaking down. There's the power is going to go out. You know, you may not be able to make phone calls. Now, that's not happened yet. All right. It's very early on in the outbreak when you start this story in this first book, but as you go along, you will see how conditions breaking down will affect everyone and affect the country and affect the characters in the story. Because that's what I'm all about. I want, you know, because I'm always talking about preparedness and, you know, things that can happen. So, yeah. And there's some other elements, you know, there's going to be some surprises. There's going to be some nice twists that make sense and, you know, aren't melodramatic. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm excited. This is a self-published book. And, you know, I did this pretty much all on my own. I wrote this story. It took me about 4 or 5 months to write it. Okay? But I was working full time. If I hadn't worked full time, I probably would have finished it in a few weeks or a couple months. But of course, you know, I had to get it edited. So it took me about a year to find an editor, a freelance editor that I wanted to hire to edit this book. And so, you know, we were supposed to do 3 passes of the story, of the book, of the manuscript. She gets the first pass, right? She makes some technical corrections. She does her little editing, right? So she evaluates, right, as she going along. You know, she reads maybe her first few chapters before she gets hired, and she lets me know if there's any content editing that needs to be done. Basically, content editing is story stuff, like story content, like Does this make sense? Does that make sense? You know, but there was no story content editing that needed to be done. I mean, that's how well I wrote the story. Uh, there was some technical issues, of course. I mean, when you're writing your own story or you're writing your own stuff,
Proceed about 2 miles to
you know,
South Van Ness Avenue.
unless you have the discipline, it's very difficult to what I'm saying. It's very difficult to edit your own stuff, all right? Especially copy editing, which is the same thing as like line editing and technical editing, structural editing, things like that. So after about a year, I don't want to say, actually it took about a year and a half. Okay, took about a year and a half to get this editor cracking. So she did the first pass, and I was supposed to, and I got the second pass, and I was supposed to go through the story, look at her notes, accept the changes, accept for the grammatical corrections and whatnot, and any suggestions she had with certain points of the story, some little suggestions, not really kind of content stuff, but minor stuff here and there, to help make the story smoother and make it make more sense or whatever. Okay, so I made those types of corrections, things like that. Also, yeah. So also I went through it. When I went through it again, I decided I wanted to change a few things in terms of the content, and so I did some of that. You know what I mean? And sent it back to her. Now, what she was supposed to do was on the third pass, right? On her second pass in total of 3, she was supposed to go through it again, okay? Accept my changes and go through it again and do a proof, okay? Proofread it. That's what she was supposed to do. And I think all she did was just accept the change. I don't even think she read it a third time. She accepted the changes, sent it back to me as is. And so I was like, you know what? I think I need to have someone else proof this, which is very important, right? It's very important because even if they're supposed to do a third pass and make more corrections, right, to the shit you changed, it's a good idea to have different set of eyes go through and proof it. Well, that's what happened. My wife started it, and she started noticing a lot of mistakes that didn't make sense. Mistakes that shouldn't be there, that were obvious to even her. Okay, she's not an editor, but she has some sense. Okay. So I started reading it too. I was like, man, this is crazy. I was pretty upset. I paid this woman a good amount of money, and she dropped the ball on the third pass. She didn't really. I don't even think she really went to that shit.
So
I was hot. And I was like, you know what? I got to get my auntie on this because my auntie is sharp when it comes to English and shit like that, and correcting grammar and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? She's real. She's on point with that.
Left
so
turn onto West
I hired her. Sorry, y'all. I hired her to go through it with me one more time. Go through it for me. And she's really good. But she has a process. She has certain idiosyncrasies that make her a very unique person. And kind of frustrating sometimes, but it is what it is. It's a process for her. But she didn't really want to edit the book without me being around, so I had to be in her face while she went line by line to make corrections. And just to get her to the house, oh man, I'm telling you, it took like 3 or 4 months to go over 40 pages of the manuscript. All right. And I was like, man, And so, but she wasn't working at the time, right? And it was her not working because she had so many grandkids that she would watch or spend time with, and you know, she got two sons, two children with kids, right? One had 3, one had 5, so she got 8 grandkids that she spends a lot of time with, that she watches a lot. And then she ended up going back to work, and so that really cut the time out. Like, I couldn't get her. I haven't had her back to the house to edit anything since she been back to work. So here we have it. All right. So I'm at a
In quarter
crossroads
of a
here, man.
mile, your destination is ahead.
I'm like, man, I can't. I can't let this sit here like this. You know, I can't. That was my thinking. So,
Your destination is ahead.
I started going through it myself. I had to. I had to start going through it myself. I wanted my wife to do it,
You
but
have arrived at your destination.
she was so
The
busy
route
with the damn
guidance is
kids,
now
and
finished.
you know, I'm gonna get don't get me started on that one. All right, I couldn't. It was very hard to get her to do that. So, yeah, I had to do it myself. I had to finish it up myself. And what I had to do, because like I talked about, it's very hard to edit your own shit. All right. But what I had to do was separate myself from the story, from the manuscript. I had to separate myself from it in order to make that work, because I had to act like I didn't write the book. Sounds funny, but I had to act like I didn't write the book so that I can edit it properly. All right. And by then I had taken a few classes, brushed up on my skills a little bit, you know, brushed up on all that. So I was able to do the corrections, right? And I changed some story content stuff, put my shit out there. So now it's available for y'all to check out. And I urge you to do so, because it's really good. It's a really good, enjoyable story. Like, it's entertaining, man. I only have 2 reviews on Amazon right now. It's only been out for about a month or so. So, a little over a month. You know, I'm an independent author. I don't have any big enterprise or big publisher backing me. So, as far as promotion, oh man, I had to figure that shit out myself. So, yeah, gotta do that shit myself. So I'm gonna be on that. I'm gonna start here local, here in LA. Then I'm gonna push out to other cities in the States. Hopefully where some of you guys are, and you guys can come check me out, and I'll sign a copy of your book. You know, but yeah, it was a journey. It was a journey, and I got it done. It's finally here. So I would appreciate if y'all support me on this, and you know, go ahead and go check it out. You will not be disappointed. Okay, you will not be disappointed. This is a great book, and wait for the sequel. The sequel is gonna be great. I already know right now. As I'm writing it, I started writing it a little bit after I finished the first one a couple years ago. Now I got like 150 pages into it. 150 pages are done. Okay. But after I took a couple of classes, I was like, let me go back through it. So now I'm going back through it like I did with the first book, and I'm polishing it up. Okay. It's being polished up, and as I'm reading, I'm like, man, this shit is dope. This shit is dope. It is. It's just, that's all it is to. I can only tell the truth. This shit is fire. You will not be disappointed. And you can always listen. You buy the book, you get the book, you read the book, you don't like it, you can just send it back. You know, refund it. I don't care. I just want people to read the shit. And if you read it and you get it, you read it, please leave a review on Amazon. Okay. Now my plan is to do an audiobook. So hopefully soon it's gonna be audiobook. And right now I'm looking for voiceover actors, narrators to read the book for me. I haven't really been actively recruiting, but I put my shit out. I put out a bulletin on a certain website, and I'm seeking auditions, but I need a little bit more push. I need a little bit more, like I said, I'm a fresh new author, so I need those reviews. I need people to see that. I need those narrators to see it, so they're investing in this as well. They're investing their time and their talent. So in order for them to be attracted to the story to read for me, I need y'all to rate the book. I need you guys to review the book. You don't need to put no big long old soliloquy about the book. You just break down if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Either way, I don't care. Just be honest about it. I want an honest review. Okay. So yeah, that pretty much sums up what I have to say about the book for now. I do plan on doing a reading, maybe reading it on live, reading it maybe a half a chapter or so, a few pages on a live, just so y'all can get a little taste. We'll see about that. Maybe have my wife do it. There's one particular chapter that I think it would be really good to read. Actually, a few chapters, but I don't want to read too many chapters and spoil anything. So, you have that. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend, right? If you got children, hug and kiss your children. Spend some time with them. Shut off your devices. Just do something with the family. All right, put the phones down. Go to the beach. Go to the park. Go to the do whatever. Hang out in the house if it's cold, if it's raining. Hang out in the house. Watch some movies. Eat some popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Play board games. Uno. You know what I'm saying? Spend some time with your family. You married. Take your wife out to eat. Wine and dine her. Ladies, if your man wine and dine you, give him a little present. You know what I'm saying? Give him a little taste. So yeah, we just need to love each other. Let's love this weekend. Let's spend our time loving this weekend. That's what I want us to do. All right, let's love, because love is all we got. Love is the strongest weapon against hate, and a lot of people hate right now. We need to spread that love, okay? Like the Care Bears in this bitch. All right, let's combine our love like the Care Bears. Open our chest up and knock that shit out the park. Okay? That's what I want. I'm gonna love up on my family this weekend. Make sure you love up on your family. You feel me? You feel me? All right, man. I'm gonna stop messing around. I'm so tired. All right, it's almost midnight. Anyway, much love, y'all. Check out my book, The Seeds of Dark Matter, Disease, on Amazon. The link is in the comments or description. Yeah, and like this video, subscribe, share it. You know what I'm saying? Spread the word. Look, you got a black author writing a story about our people. And it's not about selling drugs, okay? It's not a hood story, okay? It's an empowering story, right? It's empowering and motivating, okay? Because as I wrote, I was like, damn, I need to get on my shit too. Like my main character. All right. So yeah, this is different. It's different. It's not your typical black story. It's not. It's not. You know, I'm on a different time, and you will see that when you read my book. I'm on a different time. All right. Yeah. So go check that out. I ain't playing with y'all. Go check it out. In the description, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Boom. Peace out, y'all. Love. Have a great weekend.